Hey everybody, so in this video we're going to be talking about quadratic applications, so word problems. And in this video in particular we're going to be talking about area problems. So the key thing to remember throughout this video and for all of these problems that you're going to do is always start with a picture. All right, if you draw the picture, it's going to help tremendously in having you set up your actual equation that you will solve. So, for example 1, I want the length of a rectangular sign to be 3 feet longer than the width. It has a maximum area of 40 square feet. Find the length and width of the sign. So, first thing that we want to do is just draw a rectangle. Alright, it says that we want the length to be 3 feet longer than the width. So how do we write 3 feet longer than the width? Well, that would be the width, which I'm just going to call W, plus 3. Now, if that side's W plus 3 and that's the length, then this side, which is the width, would just be W, because that's what we called the width. Alright, now, for area, that means we want to multiply the two sides. So we're just going to take these two and multiply them together. When we do that, we're going to have W times W plus 3. And that's equal to the area. In our case, we want the area to be 40 square feet. So we're going to set this equal to 40. That's the only new part for the word problem. The rest of it's just going to be solving a quadratic equation. So we're going to start off by just distributing the W. So we're going to get W squared plus 3W equals 40. We're going to subtract 40 from both sides, though we can set it equal to 0. So we get W squared plus 3W minus 40 equals 0. And now we can do split B on this. So we're going to start out with the chart. AC would be negative 40, and B would be 3. So we need factors of 40. They're going to add up to 3. So in this case, it's going to end up being negative 5 and positive 8. That's going to get us our 3. So we can go ahead and split B into those two factors. So we have W squared minus 5W plus 8W minus 40 equals 0. We can do our grouping. So from the first group, we can take out a W. So it's going to be W, there we go, times W minus 5. And then the second group, we can take out an 8. So it's going to be plus 8 times W minus 5. The insides match, so we're going to have W minus 5 times W plus 8 equals 0. Now we can just set each of these equal to 0 individually. So we got W minus 5 equals 0. Add 5 to both sides and we get W equals 5. For this one we have W plus 8 equals 0. Subtract 8 from both sides and we get W equals negative 8. Alright, now we have two answers here, but only one of them really makes sense. You've never been going down the highway and saw a sign that has a length of negative 8 feet. That just doesn't make sense. So anytime we get a negative in these problems, we can actually just throw it out. So we're just paying attention to the 5. So we now know that the width is 5 feet. But we still need to know the length. For the length, luckily, at the start, we had a formula for it. It was W plus 3. And now that we know W, we can just fill in that W is 5, and then plus 3 would give us 8. So the length is 8 feet. And those are our answers. All right, so for the second one. For the second one, the length of a rectangle is 4 more inches than its width. Find the dimensions of the rectangle if its area is 96 square inches. All right, so again, we're going to start off by drawing this rectangle. So we know that the length of the rectangle is 4 more inches than its width. So 4 more inches than its width just means W plus 4. And just like the other one, the other side will just be W because that's just the width. And remember, we're still looking for area, so that means we're going to take these two and we're going to multiply them. So W times W plus 4 equals, for this one, we want it to equal 96 because that's the area we want. And now it's just a matter of solving again. So distribute the W. We get W squared plus 4W equals 96. Subtract 96 from both sides. We get W squared plus 4W minus 96 equals 0. And then we can do split B. So again, AC and B. AC is negative 96. B is 4. So we're looking for two factors of 96 that are going to add up to 4. So in this case, it's going to be negative 8 and positive 12. So we can split those up. So we have W squared minus 8W plus 12W, and then minus 96 equals 0. All right, now we can go ahead and group it. So for the first group, we can take out a W from each. So we have W times W minus 8. From the second group, we can take out a 12 from each. So we're going to have plus 12 times W minus 8 equals 0. Insides match. So we're going to have W minus 8 times W plus 12 equals 0. And now we set them both equal to 0. So we're going to have W minus 8 equals 0. W plus 12 equals 0. Which is going to give us W equals 8. And W equals negative 12. Again, we can throw out the negative one. So the negative one is negative 12. That one goes away. And then the W equals 8, that shows us our width. So we know the width is equal to 8 inches. And we still need to find the length. So now that we know the width, we can just go back over here, plug in our 8, and 8 plus 4 is 12. So we know that the length is going to be 12 inches. And that's our answer. All right, example 3. So in a landscape plan, a rectangular flower bed designed to be 4 meters longer than it is wide. If 60 square meters are needed for the plants in the bed, what should the dimension of the regular rectangular bed be? All right, so for this one, again, always start with the rectangle. So it's designed to be 4 meters longer than it is wide. So how do we write 4 meters longer than it is wide? Well, that means the length should be W plus 4. And then this other side is just going to be W like always. And we can multiply those. So if we multiply these, it's going to be W times W plus 4 equals, we want it to be 60 square meters. So equals 60. And now we solve. So distribute. W squared plus 4W equals 60. Subtract 60 from both sides. W squared plus 4W minus 60 equals 0. And then we go ahead and do split B. So AC, B. Our A times C is negative 60. Our B is 4. So we need two numbers that multiply to negative 60 and add to 4. So it's going to be negative 6 and positive 10. So we go ahead and split B with that. So we got W squared minus 6W plus 10W minus 60 equals 0. We can group it. So for the first group, we can take out a W, which will have W times W minus 6. For the second group, we can take out a 10, which is going to give us plus 10 times W minus 6. Insides match, so we go ahead and take W minus 6 times W plus 10 equals 0, and set both of those equal to 0. So W minus 6 equals 0, W plus 10 equals 0, which means W equals 6, and W equals negative 10. The negative we can throw out. So we know that our width is going to be 6 meters. To find the length, we plug in that 6 over here. 6 plus 4 would give us 10. So the length is 10 meters. All right, last one. So the area of a rectangle is 90 square inches. The width is 3 more than twice the length. find the length and width. All right, so we're going to start off by making our rectangle. So the width is 3 more than twice the length. So notice for this one, we're given the width as a function of the length. As in, we're saying 3 more than twice the length. The length is going to be our variable this time. So 3 more than twice the length can be written as 2L plus 3. And for the length, we're just calling that L. And these are what we multiply. So we're going to have L times 2L plus 3 equals, we want it to equal 90. So we go and distribute. So it's going to be 2L squared plus 3L equals 90. Subtract 90 from both sides. We get 2L squared plus 3L minus 90 equals 0. And now we can go ahead and do our chart. So A times C would be negative 180, and B is positive 3. So we need two numbers that multiply to negative 180 and add to 3. So in this case, it's going to be negative 12 and positive 15. All right, so let's go ahead and split B with that. We have 2L squared minus 12L plus 15L minus 90 equals 0. First group, second group. For the first group, we can take out a 2L, which is going to give us 2L times L minus 6. And for the second group, we can take out a 15, which can give us plus 15 times L minus 6. Insides match. So since the insides match, we have L minus 6 times 2L minus 15 equals 0. All right, so now we just set both of those equal to 0. So we have L minus 6 equals 0. Add 6 to both sides, get L equals 6. And then 2L minus 15 equals 0. For that one's 2 steps, so we add 15 to both sides. Then we have 2L equals 15. Oh, sorry, that should have been a plus 15. I miswrote it down here, but that should have been plus. So now we're going to subtract 15. And that's going to give us 2L equals negative 15. Then we can divide both sides by 2 and get L equals negative 15 over 2. Now again, that's negative, so we can throw that one out. So we know that the length is going to be 6 inches. And for the width, we just plug it back in. So 2L plus 3, we know L now, so we know that's going to be 2 times 6, plus 3, which is 12 plus 3, which is 15. So this is going to be 15 inches.